أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قاف والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب.
Living the Quran through the Living Quran, an audio-visual translation of Tafseer Nur of 𝐒𝐔𝐏𝐏𝐏𝐿 Qira'ati, translated by Salim Bimji and edited by Arif Huda. Audio version read out by the translator. In this 16-part series, we will be reviewing chapter number 50, Surah Qaaf, part 16, End of the World, verses 43 through to 45.
إنا نحن نحيي ونميت وإلينا المصير يوم تشقق الأرض عنهم سراعا ذلك حشر علينا يسير نحن أعلم بما يقولون وما أنت عليهم بجبار فذكر بالقرآن من يخاف وعيد.
Verse 43. Surely it is we, Allah, who give life and cause to die, and to us is the final return. Verse 44. On that day the earth will be rent asunder away from them, and they are hurrying out of it, and they will come to the meeting place. That will be a gathering easy for us. Verse 45. We know best whatever they say, and you, O Messenger, are not one to compel them to faith. So remind and warn by the Quran whoever fears my threat. Thinking points. The name Al-Jabbar means one who compensates. And as we know, this is one of the names and attributes of Allah Azza wa Jal. He says about himself in the Holy Quran. He says about himself in the Noble Quran in chapter 59, Surah Al-Hashr, verse 23, He is Allah, other than whom there is no deity, the Sovereign, Al-Malik, the All-Holy, Al-Quddus, the Giver of Peace, Al-Salam, the Bestower of Safety, Al-Mu'min, the All-Watchful Guardian, Al-Muhaymin, the Almighty, Al-Aziz, the All-Compelling of Supreme Majesty, Al-Jabbar, the Supreme, Al-Mutakabbir. All glorified is Allah above whatever they associate with Him. Al-Jabbar can also mean coercion and domination over others by aggression. However, this is an ugly attribute, as we read in the Quran, seen in chapter 50, Surah Qaaf, verse 45, and you, O Messenger, are not one to compel them to faith. Now in these verses, that is verses 43 through to 45 of Surah Qaaf, Allah Azza wa Jal is saying, do not doubt in the physical resurrection because of the four following points. 1. Your death and life are in our hands. 2. For you to be able to make your way out of the grave, we will split open the earth. 3. We will gather all the people even though they will be scattered about, confused. And 4. All of this is easy for Allah Azza wa Jal to do. We recall that in verse 39 of this chapter, Allah Azza wa Jal said, be patient over what they, the disbelievers, say. In other words, Allah Azza wa Jal is telling the Prophet Muhammad, may God bless him and his family, and the believers to have patience over what the rejectors say. And from here, Allah Azza wa Jal then guides the believers as to how they can ensure that they are able to generate and maintain the level of patience which they are required to have by Him saying the following 4 points. 1. Engage in the remembrance and glorification of Allah Azza wa Jal. 2. Remember that there will be a day of resurrection. 3. Keep in focus that the fact that Allah Azza wa Jal is ever present. And 4. Remember that the attention and knowledge of Allah Azza wa Jal encompasses whatever His opponents say or do. Now, to conclude our brief review of this chapter of the Noble Quran, let us remember that the beginning of this chapter was dedicated to taking an oath by the Quran, and the end of the chapter is dedicated to reminding the believers to focus on and to keep the Quran in the forefront of their lives. Takeaway messages. 1. Other than Allah Azza wa Jal, no one can revive the dead nor give life to someone. 2. When a person constantly remembers that everyone will eventually return back to Allah Azza wa Jal, this will increase a believer's ability to bear the difficulties that they face in this life with patience and perseverance. 3. The duty of Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless him and his family, was to propagate the religion, not to impose it on others. 4. The focus of religious propagation should be the Quran, as it is the best means of the remembrance of Allah Azza wa Jal, His teachings, and the responsibilities that we are obligated to implement. 5. The in-depth, logical, and innate nature of the Quran is sufficient for people to accept it, and there is no need for compulsion. If people do not accept Islam through its logic, and the fact that its teachings are completely in line with human nature, then nothing will bring them to the true path of Islam. 6. A person who is afraid of the day of resurrection is one who is willing to accept religious guidance. 7. The truths of religion lie within a human being, and thus only a reminder is needed to awaken that which has become dormant. The word which the Quran uses time and time again, including in this section of verses, is dhikr, which means reminding a person about something which one has forgotten. And point 8 to conclude the commentary of chapter 50, Surah Qaaf, states, even if the best orator and lecturer was to speak to a person who does not accept the day of resurrection, they would not be able to move them to accept Allah Azza wa Jal and the teachings of the faith.